Okay, everybody, we want to move into this girl that I cannot fucking stand. But she's so aggressive that she ruins people's lives.
I began the interview with one of the top issues for voters, the economy.
I began the interview with one of the most top issues with voters.
And the cost of living.
And the cost of living. Tariffs and the cost of living.
I want to delve into one of your signature promises on the campaign trail, which was...
I want to deliver one of the most significant aggressor moves as a legacy media operator.
To end inflation, to lower prices. You are now proposing tariffs against the United States.
You are proposing terrorists against the United States. Is that true, lady?
3 biggest trading partners.
Who are your biggest 3 trading partners, lady?
Economists of all stripes say that
Well, who's paying you to do this?
ultimately consumers pay the
The consumers are?
price of tariffs.
What's the price that they pay?
I don't believe
Can
it.
you guarantee American families won't pay more?
American families are falling apart at the expense of your pocketbook. And you're okay with that? Donald Trump, can you elaborate on what your experience has been and what we will have to look forward to with your election nuances?
I can't guarantee anything. I can't guarantee tomorrow. But I can say that if you look at just pre-COVID, we had the greatest economy in the history of our country. And I had a lot of tariffs on a lot of different countries, but in particular China, we took in hundreds of billions of dollars, and we had no inflation.
So you're saying that we had no inflation during your leadership and that you're going to do your best because you cannot control other countries, but you can control the way that the country operates here, which would be in the best interest of the American citizens versus the woman sitting in front of you.
In fact, when I handed it over, they didn't have inflation for a year and a half.
So you're telling us that Joe Biden caused inflation so that influencers and people in Hollywood and entrepreneurs can overthrow the white man who was operating the country with ethics and morals and tried to give all that power and money to the Middle East and other low-class individuals who only had selfish intent, including the lady sitting across from you.
They went almost 2 years just based on what I had created. And then they created inflation with energy and with spending too much.
So you're saying that they gave those people the power and the energy to do the work of what Joe Biden would call in his farewell speech a social experiment where the people ran the government? That's called socialism.
I think I'm a big believer in tariffs. I think tariffs are the most beautiful word. I think they're beautiful. It's going to make us rich. We're subsidizing Canada to the tune of over $100 billion a year. We're subsidizing Mexico for almost $300 billion.
So, looks like we're about to make $700 billion off of other countries. And if we don't get the goods from those countries, we'll bring jobs into this country. And that means we are going to win either way, and it's just going to take time.
We shouldn't be subsidizing. Why are we subsidizing these countries? If we're going to subsidize them, let them become a state. We're subsidizing Mexico, and we're subsidizing Canada, and we're subsidizing many
That was my idea, by the way.
countries all over the world. And all I want to do is I want to have a level.
I would highly recommend that Canada also consider handing your land over to the United States of America and still having your leaders, but participating in the law and order of what America offers in the leadership under Donald Trump, with a subcategory of potential separation if anything should go awry.
Fast but fair playing field.
Sir, your previous tariffs during your...
We would then be the biggest competition to China and Russia because our land mass would actually be larger as we would join forces. Think about that, Canadians and Mexicans, and what that could bring to your existence, to where you would actually be protected by the Venezuelans, protected by the cartel, and your police staff, your countrymen would have better education, more opportunity, and better education and opportunity, and you'll still be able to be Mexico.
First administration cost Americans some $80 billion, and now you have major companies from Walmart, Black & Decker, AutoZone, saying that any tariffs are going to force them to drive up.
So Walmart, who works with Paris Hilton, Walmart, who works with the low-class celebrities, are saying that the tariffs are going to drive up the market. Is that really what's being said, or is that what you're saying with your overdone makeup, your skinny eyebrows, and your plastic surgery that you've gotten since I saw you last?
Prices for their consumers. How do you make sure that these CEOs, that these companies don't in fact pass on the cost of tariffs to their consumers?
Tariffs are at the cost of other countries. That doesn't mean that the Black & Deckers pay extra unless they have shops in Canada. Think about what I just said. Unless Black & Decker has products from like factories in Canada, and then the product comes into the United States, that company in Canada of Black & Decker would pay a tariff. But they don't have companies in Canada. They're buying products from other companies out of Canada. Canada pays the tax. So it wouldn't make the product go up. And if it did, we'd come after your ass and we'd expose you on Fox News.
They cost Americans nothing. They made a great economy for us. They also solve another problem. If we were going to have problems having to do with...
So what we're uncovering, Donald Trump, is that this woman is completely fucking clueless. And she's trying to create a narrative. However, you again are coming in like a firestorm to let her know that she's losing big time and she's fucking unintelligent. So she's getting fucked. And we're going to make sure that everyone knows how she's trying to fuck all of us over.
Wars and having to do with other things. Tariffs,
All she ever does is come up with a fucking excuse.
have stopped wars with tariffs by saying, you guys want to fight, it's great, but both of you are going to pay tariffs to the United States at 100%. And they have many purposes, tariffs, if properly used. I don't say you use them like a madman, I say properly used. But
She's out of control and she's a madman. She has no vaginal excretions. She has no personality. She has no heart in her chest. She has no personality. She has no charisma. She has no education. She's like a fucking robot.
it didn't cost this country anything. It made this country money, and we never really got the chance to go all out because we had to fight COVID in the last part.
So I'm not really sure what you as audience are missing when Donald Trump is speaking in conversation of logics.
And we did it very successfully. And when I handed it over to Biden, the stock market was higher than what it was just previous to COVID coming in. It was actually higher. Tariffs are properly used, are a very powerful tool, not only economically, but also for getting other things outside of economics.
Are you actually going to impose these tariffs, or are they a negotiating tactic?
Well, I'll give you an example.
Are you going to negotiate, or are they a negotiating tactic? Are you negotiating with Donald Trump right now?
With Canada, and in particular Mexico, we have millions of people pouring into.
What do you have holding you on to Canada and Mexico? What do you know about those countries that you're talking this way without explaining what you're actually meaning, while implying something that you're not actually meaning, to put the wool over people's eyes when you know more than you're saying, which means you're not a real journalist. You're actually clearly covering up something. You're clearly covering up something, lady, and you just exposed yourself on national television, NBC News. So there's a lot of shit under the table that the media knows that Donald Trump has not been aware of because of this Democrat sickness of bringing in the media as if they're owned by the government, known as Democrats. Take a look at Mona Vance standing on the sidelines while Gary Vaynerchuk sits on the squawk box, letting you know that's the organized crime shit, you dumb bitch, and you just called yourself out on it.